collapsed houses, a number of major arteries that have fallen trees, at least 17 fallen trees blocking roads. In another instance, there's a roof blocking a road. There's some small pleasure craft that have run aground, not many. And of course, there's some poles that are down. We do know that where the Barbados Light and Power was able to maintain at least about 30% of power for most of the morning, they eventually lost it in the middle of the day, and there's only a small amount of power back on in the city of Bridgetown, where most of the cables are underground, but they're working assiduously to be able to get those back up. Fortunately, because we have put in place a program to be able to have generators at the various pumping stations and reservoirs, we expect that over the course of the next 24 hours, that 3/4 of those installations which have generators or access to another 12 that we would have rented this week, that we should be able to have the majority of those pumping stations, according to the Barbados Water Authority, back up and running within the next 24 hours. The country has had a significant hit, and therefore you will expect inconvenience, you will expect absence of critical utilities for some time. In the next few hours, we're going to try to work. When we get full assessments tomorrow, we'll be in a better position to be able to speak to the country as to what they can appropriately expect going forward. The most urgent things, of course, is one, to keep people safe, as I said yesterday. Two, and against the background of all of these damaged roofs, we've made the position known that those persons who need to go into shelters do not play powerful foolish, do not play strong. I'm begging you to go into the shelters, stay dry, stay safe, and at least allow us to work with you, because the worst thing that can happen is for you to remain in a damaged house and have problems overnight, in the middle of the night or early morning, 4-day morning again, and then what is now at risk is not property, but regrettably your life and your limbs. And I'm speaking to you from my heart, especially this week. I do not want to see any more deaths, and therefore I'm asking you, please, those of you who are feeling exposed, feeling vulnerable, that is why we have shelters open. The Barbados Defense Force will be providing the food to those persons who are there tonight, and then obviously school meals will kick in to play when we will have, now that we have the full all clear, school meals will kick into play to help those who have lost their properties and who have nowhere to turn. With respect to the persons where tarpaulins can be made available, we're obviously trying to do that. But as I said, in some instances, it's impossible. And for those who don't want to go to the shelters, do you have family or do you have friends that you can stay at? Because really and truly, I do not want you exposed tonight. It is already late. We're at what? Literally what? 2 hours? 2 hours from evening and darkness. And therefore, it is against that background that I'm really saying to people, stand still. Stand in your yard. Stay home. Let us let tomorrow morning come, and let us with a renewed sense of purpose recognize that we're going to work together as one people, yet again, to clean up this country. We did it after the volcanic ash. The pictures of the hospital look apocalyptic. The pictures of the airport and the seaport look apocalyptic. The pictures of Barbados this evening will not necessarily look apocalyptic, but we know that there are serious issues for many families across this country tonight, and perhaps certainly more so than I've seen, and I'm waiting for the final numbers, but more so than we've seen for a significantly long period of time. I don't think that there's any much more that I can say at this stage other than to appeal to persons to exercise common sense and to stay inside and to just stay safe and dry tonight. If you have problems, please call the DEM. That's what we are here for. That's how we're going to work with you. And this is not a one-off working. We are going to stay the course with you, because we know that these blows are coming at you after a pandemic, after an ashfall. And let me put it in context, and I will keep doing it for the next few weeks. This country has faced a pandemic that is worse than any pandemic that we've faced in 100 years. This country has faced equally ashfall from a volcano that is worse than any volcanic ashfall that we've had for 120 years. And this country has now faced a hurricane that may well be the worst since 1955 with Hurricane Janet, which is 65, 66 years. I do not need to tell you that if this country has faced all three of these things in the last 12 months, then you must know that the resilience of the Barbadian people is what more than anything else is buoying me tonight and giving me the confidence to know that we shall get past this moment too. And even as we do what we have to do here, our prayers and our thoughts are with our brothers and sisters, first in St. Vincent and the Grenadines and St. Lucia. We do not know what is happening there specifically because, truthfully, a lot of the communication has been cut off today, especially in the last few hours. I know that the telecoms companies are working assiduously to try to get back up as much as possible. But quite frankly, I think that our utilities will be spotty for the most part of the next 2-3 days at the very least, if not longer. And I say so without having a comprehensive report from any of the utilities, so it may well be longer. But what I do know is that I'm asking Barbadians to exercise patience. I was in Gilbert, Hurricane Gilbert in Jamaica, back in 1989. I've told so many of you already, there was no power for days, for weeks, for months for some people there. Similarly, access to other basic things from gasoline to water to all other kinds of things became problematic. We are not in a Gilbert type situation, but we do have significant damage and it will take time for us to get things back up. So I'm asking Barbadians, families, exercise your patience. With the all clear, we would expect that everybody would do their best to start cleaning up around their house. I know certainly around my house I have so many branches down, but then again my house is called a couple of branches, so I can't expect not to have branches down. But I expect tomorrow that every household, wherever possible, will start to clean up around their own areas. Because if you clean up around your own areas, then the other areas that the government and others will have to clean will be much less. Of course, we have the ASH team still in place, thank God, and therefore they can be deployed almost immediately. But we do have some issues, and I want people to be careful because water and electricity don't usually mix too. And therefore the possibility of electrical fires and other things is a real concern. I am told that we have a small fire in town, in Victoria Street, but that the fire service has it under control. And I am told that there may well be an incident at the airport, which is too early for me to get. I've not received the briefing, and I look forward to receiving it in the next few minutes. But I have Superintendent Maxwell here, because I think the country needs to know also too that all is in order, and you need to hear it not from me nor the AG, you need to hear it from Senior Superintendent Maxwell. I want to ask all Barbadians once again, let us give up our thanks to God, to whoever we pray to, and to say thank you. We have no evidence of any loss of life, and that is the most important news that we have here today. As Mr. Bishop told me 2 weeks ago when I visited him in Orange Hill, when his house was completely destroyed, he said, and all of Barbados heard him, if Noah could build back the ark, so can we. And we shall build back, but by the same token, I want people to recognize that we're in a twilight zone area with the all clear. There's still overcast, there's still the possibility of some rain, there's still the possibility of damage, getting and hurt, injuring people. Let us be safe, careful, and wherever possible, stay home and get some rest. I would like to. You can do it for me. And let us get on, therefore, with cleaning up tomorrow. Senior Superintendent, you didn't want to say anything? No.
Thank you, Prime Minister. First, I want to start by reiterating the point made by the Prime Minister that it is very important that the Barbadian society, or members of the Barbadian society, remain off the streets as much as possible This will help to keep the roads clear and keep us safe. In addition to that, I want to assure you that the Royal Barbados Police Force is on duty, and its members will continue to serve you in an effort to keep the country safe. We recognize that at this time, particularly so when the power is not on and we're moving into the hours of dark, that it will be required of us to make that extra effort to ensure that any possible activity, nefarious activity that might be contemplated by those who may be of such mind or ill, that we are able to thwart that. So I can assure you that the members of the Royal Barbados Police Force are and will continue to be out in their numbers in an effort to keep the country safe. So you can rest assured that we are on the job doing the things that we have always been doing and those that we do best. Thank you.
With the video.
Yes, I must continue to tell you that with the assistance of the Barbados Defense Force, members of the Barbados Defense Force will be out with us, protecting you and providing the service that you are, high service that you are accustomed to. Thank you.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. You've heard a lot from us over and over recently, but it is time for us to actually get on the ground so that we can address the matters that need addressing immediately, and we can try to bring assistance to the persons who need it the most tonight. So I want to thank you. We may address you later after hitting the ground, but I want to thank you very much, and you'll be addressed for certain. Tomorrow we will give you a more comprehensive update as to what we find and to what the state of play is in Barbados. So please, I see Liz Riley from Sedima. Liz, thanks for joining us, and I trust you've been ground with us. Thank you. So Barbados, let's just sign off by saying, although the all clear has been given, it is still a dangerous situation out there. So please exercise caution, as the Prime Minister said, exercise some common sense, and let us all be safe. Thank you. Good night.